want to have this guy on the roster just to make sure we keep them both. So I can see that for sure. But
yeah.
All right, next position, Jacob. I'm loving this conversation, man. This is fun.
So what do you think about the last safety position being a battle between Zane, Catan, and Omar Brown? I know Clayton's a little less excited about Omar Brown. You guys know how much we all loved Catan Oladapo. Haven't gotten to see as much from him as I would have liked to, obviously. And then Mr. Zane Anderson, kind of like Emmanuel Wilson, didn't get a lot of playing time, but when he did, boy, did he make the most of it, grading out again in the 80s. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, for me, it comes down to whether you want to count Javon Bullard as a safety or not. You guys know how I feel. I think he's a corner. And the reason he's not listed with the safeties here is because he played the majority of his snaps as the slot corner last year, if I'm understanding correctly. Now, with that being said, we broke camp with 5 last year, but one of those 5s was Javon Bullard, right? So in the Packers, I'm pretty sure on their website, they still have him listed as a safety. So it really comes back to the cornerback room. Here's what it comes down to, not to convolute it too much, but if we add cornerbacks to this list, you're keeping 10 guys off this list right here. That's what it comes down to, okay? Whether you count, Javon as a safety or not. So in the safety room, I would keep the 5 that we had listed here, right? I would keep all 5 of these if I could, and I would count Javon Bullard as a corner. So if I drop the safeties off this list, and we broke camp last year with Javon Bullard as a safety, we broke camp with 5 more cornerbacks, okay? So with that being said, who would be the 5 cornerbacks? It'd be Carrington, Keyshawn, Nate Hobbs, Javon Bullard, and you got one more. It's going to be Corey Ballantyne, Kamal Haddon, Kalen King, Bo Melton. I'm pressing in the bowl right now. So I think it might go that route. And then you keep Omar Brown. Now you got to ask yourself that whole 69-man roster, 70-man roster, whatever you want to call it, question. Can you potentially get Omar Brown on the practice squad? He was available, last year. We signed him off the scrap heap. He was a 6th-round pick. No, he wasn't. That was Kamal Haddon. But he was on the scrap heap. We signed him. Obviously, no one else had him on their practice squad. So it feels to me like you could get Omar Brown on the practice squad and then maybe carry 2 of those corners, one of which would be – 6 corners, 2 extra, with one of those being Javon Bullard. If that's the case, maybe like a Kalen King or if a Micah Robinson or somebody flashes. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
You go ahead, Emilio.
I think that's a good breakdown. I think that, like X was saying in his interview, we have a safety room that can do a lot of different stuff. He was talking about Bull, being able to play in the nickel, potentially dime, going up and playing free, playing box, all that. So I think that they're super happy with that. I really think the battle is in that corner room. But Bull's making it no matter what, right? X is making it. Evan's going to make it. Catan, I really do think he's getting better. We just need to get more reps to him.
Emilio, isn't it crazy that I forget that he graded out as almost a 73
right
in that rookie year. Granted, I mean, he's got almost just under 70 snaps, but yeah. That's still impressive, right?
It is, yeah. I mean, it's not like 20 snaps. You know what I mean?
Right. And the preseason is going to tell you a lot this year. I mean, he's going to get some actual game reps early in the game rather than 4th quarter, whatever. But being able to do well in those 70 snaps, and that's check in the box. So Zane, I think we have to keep him around for special teams. He just knows it. He's the ace back there. We need to make sure he's protecting Wheelan and. Omar Brown keeps showing up. You have a spot on the team if you can play specials and you're able to rotate in potentially. If there's an injury, you got to be ready to go and know the defense, know what they're asking you.
Yeah. I think that, like Coach Lynn says, as you were just basically highlighting, Amelia, he said Zane is the personal protector on the punt team, so maybe he makes it just because of that alone. And just also, that you got a pretty high ceiling in that depth room there. Mm-hmm. But it is I tell you what, I am probably most excited if I had to pick one single player to watch how they perform, I think it might be Catan Oladapo, like you said, just for the fact that we haven't seen a ton, and we finally will probably, hopefully, get to see him with a little higher level of competition and for longer and more snaps.
Such a banger, man! I wish we could play it longer.
I know it. AFAM in the chat says Zane is
get ready to go.
There you go. All right, you heard it here. You heard it from a fan right here.
Yeah.
Next position, gang. What are we thinking here, Jacob? What you got?
So, what do you guys think about Jacob Monk? Is there any chance that you see him not making this team? And specifically the battle that I was looking at, because it's obviously different positions, but that second/third string center, I'm starting to get a little nervous about. I think that do you think we'd all agree that probably Sean Ryan has the backup center position? But
that's how I feel, Jacob. I agree with you there, man.
what happens if, God forbid, something happens to two centers and we have to throw Monk out there? Do you think they feel comfortable with Monk, that his spot on this team is solidified as that kind of interior backup piece? And then you throw in the hitch of Morgan and Belton both not really finding a for sure starting spot. Does that, we're not going to lose those guys, that's for sure. But do you see any other like resurgence of a different player that maybe we're not thinking of pushing a guy like Monk off of this team?
It's a great question. I haven't even thought about it. I just kind of felt like he was a slam dunk to make the roster, but you make great points, man. It's not like, unless it's something, Jacob, that we're overlooking where the team's like, oh, we feel great about Monk at backup center. We're just trying to try a bunch of other guys just to make sure, But to me, I see what you're saying, man, because if Sean Ryan truly is the backup and that's not just this, hey, let's try him out and continue to rotate him through, it did seem like last year, I think it was in the playoff game, right, when Josh Myers went down, they actually kicked Sean Ryan to center. Am I thinking right, Amelia? Wasn't that how that went? Am I thinking right?
I believe so.
Jeez.
Let's see if it shows it here. Sometimes it'll show, it's just saying O-line, so it doesn't.
So, Emilio, Dennis Shook's taking a little pot shot on you here.
Yeah.
So I can see Glover having a big year.
He will. He will. He's going to be having a big year in rehab. Don't worry. He'll be coming back.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
Yeah. Well, Chris the Casual End says, Monk has showed what exactly? And, we never want to be too harsh on players here, but we always say, if you see something, say something. I haven't seen as many flashes as I would have hoped from Mr. Jacob Monk at this point.
Hey, he's on special teams, baby. 43 snaps on field goals and extra points. Like, I don't mean to laugh, but it's a valid point. And the way people talked about him last year going into camp was like, man, the Packers really like this guy, right?
What about JJ?
Wasn't he like a 4-year captain or something? Am I thinking right?
At Duke, right?
Yeah.
I believe so.
I don't know, man. And Coach Lynn says, I have not seen anything from Monk yet in training camp. I will say this, listening to Wildy and Tausch, and when Wildy has been over at camp, at least earlier during the OTAs, he pointed out, you see the offensive line together and you see Monk, you go, man, one of these guys don't look like they're big enough to belong. He just kind of looks like a smaller cat. So
Joseph right here, that's his comment.
Yeah, perfect, Joseph. Thank you. That's exactly what Wildy said. So I don't know, man. That's a great question. So do you think?
I think by the time we get to third center, I think Zach Tom's coming to center, and we're putting Belton and Morgan out there, and we're spreading out the first round.
But again, that to me would make more sense than that they would be okay with letting Monk. If they had to make, if they really, let's say they really like Telfort, or even somebody that we're not thinking like Banks or something like that.
Right.
Not Aaron Banks.
We got to keep 10 out of tackles, guards, and center.
Last year we broke camp. Offensive line, but 10. We had 10.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we kept 10, let's count them off here. Zach Tom, Rasheed Walker, Elton Jenkins, Aaron Banks, Sean Ryan, Jordan Morgan. I about said Travis Glover. I apologize.
That's okay.
That's 7, right? That's all I'm Anthony Belton would be 8, right?
Yep.
So
there's
8
2 spots probably.
I think Donovan Jennings still has a shot, right?
That's a guy they've been really trying to force into that center row. Now, don't get me wrong, he's snapping the ball like I would. He's airmailing that thing, right? Yeah. So you got 2 spots left. It kind of feels like Jacob Monk will be a slam dunk for one of those spots now that Travis Glover's down.
Unless they're looking for a tackle.
What about Tyler Cooper, maybe?
I was thinking Tyler Cooper maybe could show something. Obviously, Williams isn't going to be much here, but I have you heard anything about Brant Banks?
No.
I haven't heard anything. So I
only remember what it was. Banks lined up next to each other one time. It was like the bank side of the line or whatever, where they had Aaron and then Brant right next to each other, something like that. But that's my only thing. If Brant's a tackle and they're looking for that, Kadeem Telford can play tackle too, but he's probably going to be making out. That's tough. Or you say, hey, I'm going in with 9 and you need another spot somewhere else. You slide a couple of these guys to the practice squad and you bring them back up once you get that taken care of.
See, that's what I thought was more of a realistic thing. Like if we did need to get another cornerback, obviously we know how many wide receivers everybody wishes we could keep. If the tight ends, if we only break with 2, you know what I'm saying? There is some puzzle pieces that we could move around. And I would argue that probably the back end of that offensive line room, I don't know if there's anybody that wouldn't make the practice squad. You know what I mean? That would get snatched by. I don't think anybody's looking after Monk or JJ Lipe or Cooper, maybe Cooper, but
Yeah. The one thing that kind of grabs my attention with Jacob Monk, I was just sitting there thinking, do you try to kick him over the practice squad and play at a numbers game? Carry 9, like you guys said, stash 3 of these guys on the practice squad, and you could just activate, as you go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as you need them. But him being a 5th round pick,
yeah.
When I look at that stuff, guys, you may look at it and go, oh, well, it doesn't necessarily mean somebody will sign him. If the Packers took him in the 5th round, it probably means, well, first of all, they had at least a 5th round grade on him, maybe even higher, which means other teams may have had a 5th round grade on him, and they may find themselves. I mean, we see the injuries across the league right now in preseason. It's absolutely insane how many guys are getting hurt. So what these GMs do, as soon as their roster gets thinned out a little bit with injuries, if you're one of those guys that gets bitten by the injury bug, or one of those teams rather, you immediately go back to your draft board and you're like, okay, who were we high on this draft? All right. Are any of those guys available? Oh, look, here's Monk. We had a 5th round grade on him and he's on a practice squad. They'll swoop in and take him. Right. So that's why, once you get outside like the 4th round, you think, okay, is it really a big deal to keep him? It is. And I think it's important to understand too, that he's going through his 2nd full off season. Mm-hmm. So he probably understands the scheme at least more than someone you bring in off the street. That makes sense. So,
yeah. And I mean, 6'3", 230, I mean, 320. He's not a tiny guy. I mean,
even if he's 6'2", I mean, that's not horrible, right?
And I think what Wildy was saying was like, we made a shift this year. Many people didn't catch this, but the Packers made a shift and they went for bigger offensive linemen. You could tell that they're pressing into what Philly does, trying to play that bully ball, right? And I think that's why it's like, think about it. You line those guys up. Let's do it this way. Let's say he is 6'2", because we know how PFF sometimes, exaggerates and stuff. Rasheed Walker, the left tackle, right? 6'6". Okay. Left guard, Aaron Banks, 6'5". I think they actually had him listed at 6'6" on some sides. Elton Jenkins, your center, 6'5", right? And then right guard, where are you at? Let's say it's Sean Ryan. Sean Ryan's 6'5". Zach Tom is another smaller guy. I say he's 6'4". Mm-hmm. So see how he is truly 6'2". You look at that and go, holy cow! Like that guy's kind of small. So
right.
But anyway, there you go. There's your offensive line. All right, that's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2. We'll wrap up this conversation if we have time, or we can continue on with it. If we have time, we'll get into some Isaiah McDuffie chalk talk. But we'll see y'all on the other side. We appreciate you.
For those of you listening on the pod,
welcome into our
in a dumpster.
Jacob, you got any other positions you want to hit, man?
I mean, yeah, that was 5, but
but I do have some other ones that I would like to talk about.
It's cool. We could keep going, man. This is the stuff you want to talk about right now for sure.
Well, we kind of gently went into the topic, but basically who's getting that last cornerback position between Melton, King, and Ballin. And I listened to Wes Hodkowitz and Mike Spofford today, and they were saying that it's Ballentine that this whole time.
Really?
We've been saying Valentine and Ballentine, but apparently it's Ballentine. Now, I don't know if that's right, but Max Spofford, he stood on business. He said,
is it Valentine too?
No.
I know this. If Spofford's standing on business, I ain't going to question it. That man is an intimidating cat right there.
Valentine. Yeah. I like it.
He looks like the type of guy you think, what are you saying, Clay? He looks like a tough guy. No, he looks like the type of guy that just make a phone call and you disappear. You know what I mean? So, go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's if you would have asked me this 2 weeks ago, I would have thought, much like Clayton had said, the Bo Melton thing, that's just a one last ditch effort to try to give him some dignity and just not cut him outright. I really am starting to think that Bo Melton is going to be an NFL cornerback and could possibly see some playing time. Again, that might be my most intriguing thing besides Catan Oladapo is to see if they throw Bo Melton out there, let him strap up. Even we talked about the elements maybe being a concern. All right, let's not play Valentine. Let's not play Nixon. Obviously, Hobbs isn't going to play. Let's throw Bo Melton out, CB1 against the Jets. Throw him on Garrett Wilson if they play him. It sounds like Fields is going to play, so I would assume they'd have Garrett out there. Put him out there. Let's see what happens, especially with some odd footing. You want to see how he reacts to that, some adversity. To me, I would love to see him make this team. what do you guys think? I really do think he has a chance.
You guys know this. It's probably going to be my worst take of the year. Was when they moved him to corner. I was the very first one that was like, boys, he's probably gone. Hey guy, this is your last shot to make the roster. And then he comes out in camp and just looks strong.
Yep.
And you guys don't forget, undrafted free agent, Tramon Williams, one of the all-time greats in Green Bay, in my opinion. I think that dude, I think there was a case to be made for Tramon to eventually be in the Packer Hall of Fame. I mean, he got a ring. He was dominant in that playoff run where he got the pick 6 in Atlanta, where they end up winning the Super Bowl. Solid player. Another one, just like Bo Melton, Sam Shields, 4.3 40, receiver at Miami. They converted him over to safety or over to corner. So there's precedent. There's precedent for it, man. And it looks like the chat agrees. Like it feels like it, Jacob. He's a slam dunk. Bo Melton's gonna be a slam dunk for the roster if he stays healthy, of course.
And you add in the added special teams help that he does. Probably our best gunner, right?
It's exactly it. I was going to say that's the multi-tool special right there. The fact that he can play all three phases. He's on special team or we fence that they're calling it. He's on defense, and he can go in and play receiver for a pinch. Shoot, I mean, even if they bring him in, play corner this game, he might still get a couple reps at receiver just to make sure he's still got it and doesn't get rusty.
No,
Travis Hunter, who?
Yeah, exactly.
Cheese curds make my stomach hurt all the time, but I do eat them though.
I hope he makes the roster, man. Just telling you.
Absolutely. Yep.
His reaction to Emilio screaming at him at Tennessee game when they were loading up on the bus and him going.
He literally turned all the way back around to point that one out.
Yeah.
I was hyped, Jacob. I was hyped.
That's
dude.
awesome.
He's a good dude. All right. What else we got, Jacob?
Well, this was what I was supposed to do. One individual player. I only had one.